Welcome again, people. A very happy Independence Day to all my friends in India and all my Indians staying out of India and all those people who belong to India. A very happy Independence Day to you all. So we are back again and I'm super excited this time as well because we have a very special guest with us. Since we are today on Independence Day here, we talk about getting freedom from our limitations. Now, today we really talk about strategies to basically upskill ourselves, shatter all our limitations, and step out of something called as our comfort zone. You know, and I want to welcome Sharon Monteiro, who is a motivational speaker and she is a life coach as well. But mind you, let me tell you, she was not always this confident woman going out there transforming people's life. She talks to us about her story of transformation from being this absolutely girl next door who was shy to turning into this woman who is transforming people's lives as a motivational coach right now. So Sharon, this is amazing. We are all very proud of us, proud of you. We also talk about her journey in and what she's learned from her journey, where she's really stepped out of her comfort zone, how it has enriched her life. She was a columnist for a prestigious parenting magazine, Mother and Baby Child magazine, and Emirates Parenting Plus for 4 years. She is also an established and published author of a book titled Give Me a Chance on Conscious Parenting. So let us welcome Sharon today. Sharon, I'm so happy to have you. Thank you for agreeing to coming on the platform. Tell us about you and how did your journey begin?
Thank you so much, Hema, for that wonderful introduction. And how did my journey begin into holistic healing as life coach?
Yes.
Okay, so what happened was I was working at a 9 to 6 job, and I got a little tired of coming home so late, leaving so early, saying good morning to my son and saying good night to my son, and that's about all the conversation I had. And I decided to take a break. And I was like, what do I do? Because my kids are at school, and I was Googling what other occupation could I do that I could stay at home. And I found this thing, something called life coach. And I was like, wow, you get paid to
She's
help
also an
people?
established. Yeah, please go on.
Yeah, so I was like, so I met one lady, and I did not realize that she was actually the diplomat of the British embassy out here. And she asked me to join her group, and I loved life coaching so much. And to cut a long story short, I got certified as a life coach, and I really enjoyed that journey because not only I could be with my family, which is a very high value to me, I could also help people and also get paid for it. That's the beauty of it all.
Yeah, that's an absolute important thing to get you motivated. But Sharon, tell us, were you always this confident? How was your journey? Were you always comfortable in this space that you're in right now?
No, never, ever, ever. All I had was a book in front of my face. I was always hiding behind a book. I was an avid reader. I was a very quiet child. And my parents were really, worried about me. What would I do when I finished my education? So my father suggested that, you become a teacher because when you're a teacher,
Wow.
you're safe. And I was like, okay, because I was always frightened. I mean, anything I just could start crying. It was like so simple. And
Wow.
I decided to go into an office environment, much to my father's fear. And I realized something, Hema, that I really enjoyed this journey of the organization, of the office environment, the HR, the admin, the marketing. And slowly, I started becoming a little more confident. As I started seeing results, I started becoming a little more confident. I would take some chances. And of course, my bosses were amazing. They saw stuff in me which I had never seen in my life, like being an event manager, doing PR, putting a company magazine together. And this is what all these wonderful people in my life helped me to grow and become who I am today.
Well, that's an amazing step for you to take. But, also it is very interesting to understand that what was that point that made you jump from being this girl who was sensitive, emotional, behind the book, to actually going out, showing a face, being ready to be seen by people, by teachers, by people who you were grooming. So, what was that point? What led to the transformation for you?
What led to the transformation was such small little things, Hema. It was so tiny, I can't even begin to name it, but it became a chain of events. Something clicked here, something clicked there, and of course, action, action, action. You can't be where you are without action, no matter
No,
what
I'm
people
not.
tell.
What do you mean by action? I'm not sure.
In the
I
sense that
understand.
when somebody told me, I would like you to start the in-house magazine, I
Hmm.
took that initiative. I did it. I had no clue. I figured out there's something called CorelDRAW. I found that CorelDRAW software. I created the magazine. Somebody told you have to be the MC of the, when we were in Nigeria, we used to have a lot of events. So my boss made me the event manager. So I would do
Yeah.
a lot of events. I didn't know anything about Dhanteras. I didn't know, I mean, being in India, I never knew anything about the Indian festivals as much as I came to know about all the Indian festivals in Nigeria. So this is
Yeah.
what I meant to say. I took small actions. Every time somebody told me, do something, I did it. I did it.
Okay.
I had no clue of the outcome. Absolutely no clue of where this was going to be. It could be a total disaster. It could be a total success. But I sort of took that little step. And that's the little steps that I kept taking that I started from being at the backstage. I started actually coming in front of the stage and actually emceeing and, putting a mic in front of me and hosting events and that
Right.
sort of stuff. I would never have dreamed of up to the age of 19.
So what I understand is basically risking it and taking those little steps, even though you may fail at times.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, I was just saying that this sounds scary, to really go out and do something that you don't know about. Now, I
Yes.
also want to understand that how was your life when you were in your comfort zone with your family, behind the book, inside the house? Was that more comfortable, more rewarding as compared to when you stepped out?
It was safe. It was
Safe.
safe. I
Yeah.
was in charge of my environment. I
Right.
was in control of my environment. But it was
Right.
very constricting, very, very constricting. I knew I had so much more in me. I did
Yeah.
not have the courage. And, I did not, I basically lived purely through fear.
Right. Right. So, if you had to give some suggestion to your younger self who was in that zone, comfortable zone, what would the suggestion be?
I would suggest put that book down, throw that book away, start making friends, start interacting with friends, start doing stuff, and believe in yourself. Because I do believe we are all amazing people. It's just that the circumstances are such that we sort of make ourselves small, or maybe our conditioning is stuff that we make ourselves really small. So
Yeah.
I would tell my inner self, go out, make friends, make mistakes. That's what I tell my kids. I tell both my kids, both your parents are doing really well financially. Go make your mistakes. My daughter, I tell her, go to different jobs, take different jobs, resign at will, whatever you want to do it now. We are here. We are there for you. So it's the
Right.
same thing that I would tell that inner child of mine, that young child of mine, that there's no need to be afraid. And yes, you're
Hmm.
going to fail, and that failure is going to teach you something. And that's
Right.
the message we all be teaching our kids. It's okay to fail. It's perfectly okay to fail.
Yeah, I think that's very important, especially in today's times when there is so much pressure on not only children but each individual as an adult as well to perform, to outperform the peers. So you want to be absolutely sure, before taking that leap or leaving your job and
Yeah,
fulfilling your dream. So,
exactly.
uh, tell us something. When you took that step, what are the kind of challenges that came for you, and how did you really manage them?
So when I took that step from, giving up my 9 to 5 job in the corporate, it was really scary For the
Right.
simple reason is because I wasn't going to get a monthly paycheck. That's number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is
absolutely.
very
That's
important,
so
right?
secure, right? You just know that
Yeah.
you just have to get up in the morning, work on the laptop. Every month end, you have that check flowing in.
Yes. And also it was very clear as to what my job profile was. I
Yeah.
went into office, I knew what my job profile was, I knew what they wanted me to do, I knew the success stuff, I knew my figures, I knew everything. Now, when you're coming into becoming a life coach, it's like you suddenly are working for yourself. And you know,
Yeah.
the worst, Emma, was
Yeah.
marketing. I mean, that was like crazy stuff. You know, you don't even
Yeah.
want to go there. But and also very, very important, what we learned as a life coach, there was no more blaming. We
Yes.
couldn't blame anybody for anything inside our world or outside our world. And so that means taking
Right.
responsibility. When you had to take responsibility, you were sort of, you know, clear about what you were doing.
Right.
And so this is all the little things. But the upside of doing this, the upside of becoming a life coach was, you know, the amazing changes you could see in people. They were stuck, they were blocked, they were in
Mm-hmm.
confusion. You could give them clarity. Their
Mm-hmm.
lives changed, their families' lives changed. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is something worth all the challenges, really worth all the challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I understand you were this shy girl and then came out, saw your share of failures, learned from your failures, and moved ahead and became this motivational speaker. I know you do a lot of workshops around. Also, would you like to tell us your background? Were you always from India? I know you're not in India right now. You were
Good.
talking to us live from Abu Dhabi,
From Dubai.
from Dubai. So,
That's right.
just give us a gist about your background as to how you moved places and reached where you are today.
So we have really moved. I was born and brought up in Calcutta, of course. I studied
Okay.
in Darjeeling, and we
আমি
moved from
আমি বাংলা বুঝতে পারি আমি বাংলা বুঝতে পারি
আমি বাংলা ঝগড়া করতে পারে. You know, Hema, I learned more Bengali after marriage. We moved to Tollygunge and we had to speak
Okay.
Bengali. All
Wow.
my Bengali came into play, you know. So yeah,
Yes.
so we were in. I was working for Tata Tea Limited, and I was very
Mm-hmm.
settled and stable. And
Right.
my husband, when he married me, he said, you know, I want to be a principal of a school. That was his dream. His
Wow.
ultimate dream was to be the principal of a school. So me being me, family values being family values, I was like, okay, you know, in Calcutta, we can't do this. At that point of time, it was the Catholic priests who were running the schools, you know, the Catholic
Yeah.
schools.
Yeah.
The Protestants were running. So we were Roman Catholics. So I said, let's move out. So I think I went for 6 exit interviews in Tata Tea when they finally allowed me to go to Bangalore.
Wow.
I went to Bangalore, and for whatever reason, certain things took place. Then we moved from Bangalore. When we were in Bangalore, my husband's alma mater school called him and asked him if he would be the headmaster. So again, after 2.5 years, again we uprooted ourselves, moved to Kalimpong, which is in Darjeeling. We stayed there for 2.5 years. Then we got an offer to work in Nigeria to actually, you know, work in a really awesome expat school. So we moved again. We moved to Nigeria, and we were very happy. You know, it was a really nice place. People were very loving, very kind, very thoughtful. But because we happened to be around about the time when there was a changeover of elections and the new president had to come in, and our company was a very big company.
Yeah.
So the militants basically kidnapped our managing director and some
Wow.
of the directors. Yeah, that was a very scary sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we were immediately airlifted, like how you see in the movies. We were airlifted into Lagos, and then from
Mm-hmm.
Lagos we were brought to our various home places. And
Mm-hmm.
whilst we were in Lagos, I told my husband, since we're not going to bring back family and wives and children again because of the experience, so just start sitting on your phone and see who you can phone, because we've got a 22-hour gap in a 22-hour overnight stay in Dubai. It was
Okay.
Lagos to Dubai, Dubai to Calcutta. And he phoned, and I mean, it's amazing when you put your mind to something. This guy who picked up the phone, he's a really big dad out here in Dubai. He's a CEO of the big gem schools over here. He
Right.
picked up the call and he said, how long are you going to be in Dubai? So we said, they're going to be there for about 22 hours. He said, when you land, just call. My husband went for the interview. He got the job, and it was in the month of June. So July, August, the whole of Dubai is closed. We went to Dubai in end of August, and we've been here to stay in one place finally. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. So it's very heartwarming to see somebody actually live their dreams, huh? Yeah. So not all of us have that in the moment right now to take that leap. So this also makes me a little inquisitive. So all the participants who are actually watching us now live and people who will watch us on the repost, I would like to know who all have dreams and which they have not yet achieved, because that's a very common phenomena I see. When a person is in their comfort zone, we dream a lot. We dream a lot within the paycheck boundaries that our employment gives
Yeah.
us, and we ideate on that also, and probably not end up ever creating our dreams because it's so comfortable sitting in that cocoon and dreaming. So all of
Yeah.
those who have dreamed and not completed their dreams because they are yet just planning, please put them on the comments. We would like to know that. So moving on to the next question, Sharon, I also want to understand that if what was your steps to move out of a comfort zone? Did you plan, deliberate, or practice some things to actually break that circle? I don't know if it came easy or difficult to you, but a lot of times it's not very easy for people, to actually make that jump.
It's really difficult. I can tell you. And now it sounds very glam, and we've got what we
Yeah, it
wanted.
does
I
sound
got
super
what I
glam and
wanted.
easy. I mean,
Yeah,
you look natural. That, oh, I just left my comfort zone and moved in.
yeah. It was tough. Let me tell you, because it's just a 1 hour call, but I can talk to you about 15 hours. But all when I talked to you when we left this place, there were a lot of stuff that happened, tons of
Okay.
stuff that happened, and I'm the type of person, I can't play victim. I have a problem. I can't play victim. So I just look at the situation and say, what can we do from here? What can we create over here?
Yeah.
And this is where this journey became a lot more easier. My family still tell me, you people are gypsies. What suppose something happens in Dubai tomorrow? What do you have? Do you have a home? Do you have this? We don't have anything. And it's like, I like to live one day at a time. The challenges are really tough. There was a time when my husband he had joined another school, and we were banned in Dubai. And
Wow.
my daughter was doing her board exam. She was doing her class 12 board exam at that point of time. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
talking about all that stuff that happened. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like really difficult, but the joy of that, the joy of being where you are today is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. It's difficult. I'm not going to glam it. I'm going to tell you it's difficult. It's challenging. People still look at you and say, what's wrong with you? You guys, you won't believe it. I was in Tata Tea. I was in the management career. So
Yeah.
we would go and have lunch upstairs, and we had everything going for us.
Yeah.
And why would you lift yourself out of comfort zone for something else? But
Exactly.
would I exchange this life for anything else? Never. Never. I wouldn't exchange it for anything else. Was it difficult? Yes. Was it a gift? 100%. 100%. I've seen my kids grow. I've seen my kids, how beautiful they've become. And it's a beautiful lifestyle. You have to work
Yeah.
very hard. I'm not saying Dubai, you have to work very, very hard. It's not a glam place. People think of Dubai,
Yeah.
oh, you come from Dubai, you have a lot of money. You've got to work very hard. By virtue of me always loving what I do, whether it was in an office job or whether it's a life coach, I love what I do. So for me, it's not work. For me, it's
Yeah.
just an expansion, another day, another day opening up, unfolding, because that's how you can be a victim, you can be a martyr, you can be a
Absolutely.
hero, or
Yeah.
you can be a you
Yeah.
choose. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
choice.
It's
Most
basically a choice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Hema. And if you look at life as a choice, even if there's a place of no choice, you still have choice, right?
Yeah. You
So
do.
this is where we've always looked at it this way. What's the choices out here? What can we
Mm-hmm.
create out here? So this is what we've always done, and hopefully we continue to do.
So we have a very interesting question, which says that what is comfort zone? What
What
is
is
comfort zone? So a lot of
okay.
people define it differently. So I wanted to say it for all of us.
So what is comfort zone? Comfort zone is that familiar place.
Yeah.
Okay. Comfort zone is being in control of your circumstances, even if it's a rubbish circumstances. Even if you're having problems with your husband, or you're having problems with your children, or you're having problems with your boss or your colleagues, but you're in control. You know this guy's going to be mean to me. You know this colleague is going to be terrible to me. You know this person's going to rob my work from me. But it's a comfort zone. That and it's a place where people are not willing to take an action so to better their life.
Yeah.
So when we tell people,
so true. I mean, so true, you know, because I very much equated like probably driving or like our routine, you know, because you don't have to think much. When you get up, you know, you have to go brush your teeth, get ready, start your car, drive, you'll reach to work. So everything is moving in a routine, you know.
Yeah.
It's safe. You know, this person is mean, but you know the degree of the meanness, you know, you'll be able to handle. So I have a parallel question from Jaya. Hi, Jaya. She's in Bangalore as we talk right now. So she's asked that you mean to say that once one moves out of the comfort zone, you succeed in life. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, you move out of one comfort zone, you can make that your comfort zone. And then you move out of that comfort zone, then you make that your comfort zone. So success is something right now, you're healthy, you're happy. That's my version of success.
It is to live in the right now.
Right now, everything is okay.
Yeah.
You know, in the moment as I talk to you, Hema, right now, everything is okay. As our listeners listen to us, right now, everything is okay.
Yeah.
Take that right now. Stay with that right now.
But trust me, you know, like I love to get uncomfortably excited as well. So for me, getting out of the comfort zone is sitting on the camera and talking to people like this, you know. To be seen is out of my comfort zone. But I chose this, and trust me, it has been so enriching. I can't tell you how much I love the audiences and coming on this show every evening, get ready for it. And by the way, for people who have not yet noticed, I have a new camera, and I hope I look much more clearer as compared to all my other talks, and I was super excited for it. So I want all the participants watching it live and watching it later to put on the chat what is your comfort zone, or you know, which comfort zone have you shed. Like for me, being on a camera and seen live, I've tried to shed it, you know. So Sharon, moving on to the next question on the chat, I have a question saying that is it that you have always succeeded your fears when you are moving from one comfort zone to another?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I can always say that as a big fat yes, because I believe in myself and I believe in my connection with the universe, and I believe that there's always a hand on my head. That's what I always believe in.
So trust in the universe and move ahead. Tell us your secret. What do you do to overcome that fear, anxiety, excitement, whatever that may be, to leave what you know and go to the unknown?
To leave what you know and go to the unknown is an adventure in itself.
So, I don't know how many of us have seen it that way. So people who see it as adventure, put a comment saying A. Yes, Sharon, please go on.
Yes. So, you know, like when we go for a holiday, like last year we were in Russia, the year before that we were in the European part of Georgia. And I don't know if you know something, in Russia, most people don't speak English. Okay. In Georgia, most people don't speak English and they look at you really suspiciously. So the thing is, like, I tell my kids, and I believe I'm also an expert on parenting. That's also one of my niches, where I do believe that parenting is an adventure. Some days there are good days, some days there are bad days, some days are low days. You know, like I always, when I do my workshops or when I talk to my clients, I always say, imagine your life like an ECG. If you've got this one line,
you're dead.
You're dead, right?
So guys,
Right.
next time when you feel comfortable, remember Sharon's words. Remember your ECG. The moment that goes flat, you're dead.
Yeah.
So,
So my ECG goes up, goes down, goes straight, goes up, goes higher, goes lower. But there's never a moment of dullness over here, you know? Yes, am I afraid? Yes, I'm afraid. And my secret to everything is life is an adventure. Just go out. And so far, nothing seriously bad has happened to me, you know?
yeah.
Because if you just think of it as an adventure, so fear is going to be there. We all have fear. We are born with fear. Fear is there to protect us. So when I have fear, my fear is there to protect my fears. Is don't do this, don't go down this lane. I mean, this crazy stuff. I love walking. So when I go to Georgia or Russia, I just go walking all over the place because my family tends to sleep late. I get up early in the morning, about 7 o'clock. I walk around, I find all the restaurants under the sun. And making friends with strangers is also one of my things I love to do. So when I always look at everything as an adventure, and it just sort of falls into place. And if there is fear, there is fear. I'm not saying no. So I look at this fear and I say, I know you. I actually talk to my fear. Okay, I may sound a little crazy, but I literally, Hema, I talk to my fear and I say, fear, I know you've come to protect me. But what can you offer me in place of you're throwing fear at me? That's okay, I accept. But what can you offer me apart from this fear? And most of the time, believe me, it can't offer me anything else. So then I say, you know, fear, I respect you, I honor you, I'm gonna go and do what I want to do. And it works
Oh,
out.
that's
Beautiful.
interesting because I have Hema Ahuja asking me this question. Hi, Hema. She's watching us from US. So
Hi,
she's
Hema.
asking, how do you handle this fear? So one thing I understand now, you talk to your fear, you question
Yes.
your fear as to what it will offer you.
Yes.
Are there
And it can't
another
offer you
ways people
anything.
can handle fear?
And you won't believe, Hema, it can't offer you anything else because fear is just there to protect you, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, so that's it.
Oh, that's nice. So I have a lot of people saying they agree that life is an adventure, which is amazing to see. People have, and Corona times have also teach them how to live one day at a time, which is also amazing. So, Sharon, let's come to the interesting juice of the topic. You know, how do we create money, relationships, and job? Three things that people fret about the most, and probably something that we've dreamed of, we've always wished, but we've never achieved. What has this to do with our limitations and staying in our comfort zone? You know.
Can you rephrase your question, Hema?
So my question is, how do we create money, relationships, and job? Basically, anything that we have dreamt of, but we have never ended up achieving those.
Okay. So how do we achieve it?
Yeah.
Uh, First and foremost, you have to think that you're worthy of it. And if you think you're not worthy of it, fake it.
Fake
Fake it.
it.
I have faked it like nobody's business. I swear to
Ooh,
you, I
I
have
like
faked
this.
it before I
How do
ever
we
did it.
fake being rich?
You go and you go into these five-star hotels. You go and use their bathroom. You don't have to use anything else. Go and use their
Love
bathroom.
this. Guys,
Read
please
about.
make notes from this. Huh? She
Yeah.
charges for all this in Dubai. She's doing it free for us.
So the first thing you have to do is fake it. Okay.
Okay.
And look at videos. How do rich people live? Go to clubs. Just watch these rich people. Go
I
and
know.
go shopping into these places where, you know, there's these designer places. Don't say, I can't go there because I can't afford. Say, I'm future spending. You know, I'm gonna buy this later. Go look at it and say, you know what? It's not as, you know, it's not what I really thought it out to be. Try on the shoes, try on the clothes. And sometimes you'll be thinking, you know what? I like my kurta pajama better. Or I like my current lifestyle better.
You know,
So
now
these
now that you say that, when I'm traveling, with my friends or whatever, I'm traveling to these plush places in Paris. We don't even enter those boutiques thinking, oh my God, they must be so expensive. It feels so
Right.
uncomfortable to actually just enter and try on a dress. you know. And I'm
You
sure
have
there'll
to
maybe
do it.
many people here, who don't pick up super expensive things. Like, if I see a 4 lakh dress, I will not even look at it or pick it up to try it on. How uncomfortable is that? Do I even subconsciously think I'm worth it? So I really love that point of yours. Think you're worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, because in Calcutta we have something called New Market. Before we had all these fancy markets in Calcutta, we had something called New Market. So we would always go to New Market, and New Market had the worst toilets possible.
Yeah. Oh,
Horrendously good. Okay,
I know
so
that. I've been to
near
Calcutta
the
a
New
couple of
Market,
times.
near the
Yeah.
New Market is Grand Hotel.
Yes. Yes.
That was my loo. I used to
Yeah.
use that as my loo. So I would go in very confidently. I would just go use the loo, come back. And if anybody spoke to me, I would talk to them very sweetly. Which room number are you in? Nobody actually ever asked me what room number am I. Never. And my family used to say, are you off your head? Somebody's going to say something. So when they say something, we'll see about it. In the meantime, I need a clean toilet. That's my criteria.
Right. Right.
So audacity is also very important,
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
audacity. And audacity comes with faking. I swear to you, everybody on this call, start faking it. Watch videos of rich people. Watch videos on how, and most important thing is, don't be jealous of these people. There's a hell of a lot to go around, a lot to go around. So don't be jealous of people. Always understand that even if people have, there's a lot more for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty more for you. And always, like, we look at people, we look at rich people, and we only see what they don't have. Or they may be rich, but they don't have a relationship. See, I have a relationship.
Yeah.
Or they may be rich and I
You
don't
try to
have this.
justify not having
Justify.
that one money with something else,
Right. And also there's been a lot of, what I see a lot of my clients is, there's been a lot of parents who have justified not giving their children certain things. Or, if you're
Oh,
rich,
this
you're going to be
happens, yeah.
like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be, so, the thing is, Hema, stop living from what your parents told you. They told you what they told you to protect you, to protect themselves. They did it in pure intent. They didn't do it to harm you. No
True.
parent does anything to harm their child.
Yeah.
They have not communicated it properly. We can't blame them. They don't know what we know today, right? So the thing is, when you start seeing situations and just say, you know what, this is my past. I don't need to live from there. And like you Hindi movies, you have the whole drama in the first half of the movie. Then you
Yeah.
have the what you call it,
The emotional.
the interval, okay,
Yeah, the
and then
interval.
we have the second part. So I always tell people, like, okay, you did your drama, you did your action, you did everything, and you blamed everybody. Okay, now this is your interval. Now, from now on, your movie is going to be how you choose it to be. You're going to be sitting in that driver's seat. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be driving. You've never driven that car before. You may just drive it into an uphill. You may just crash. You may get some bruises.
Yeah.
But you will finally learn to drive, right? So you can
Exactly.
get on the highway. And the
Yeah.
thing is, it takes courage. It takes
Yeah.
audacity.
Yeah.
Read a lot of books. And of course, if you want, come and do a coaching session with me. It'll cut down your time in 1 hour flat. So the thing is,
Yeah.
always have the audacity, the courage, and believe in yourself. And if you can't believe in yourself, always believe there's somebody bigger out there. It
Yeah.
could be the God you pray to. It could
Yeah.
be the universe. It could be anybody. Know that there is something bigger out there, and that is, Oprah Winfrey, all these big names. They've always said one thing, and I've taken it from them, I've borrowed it from them, that
Yeah.
no matter what you do, there's somebody there to bail you out. You're not
Right.
alone. Believe me, you are
Right.
not alone. But you have
So
to say
Sharon, I get 3 points here. One is, of course, first, believe you're worth it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
probably if you want to make yourself believe initially, if you don't believe it, fake it, go out and do everything that you would want in your life, be that. And the second, you said that read a lot of books, or maybe go to classes, or listen to successful people's videos, imbibe a lot of things from there. The third you told us was, don't be jealous and don't try to justify whatever you don't have,
yeah,
and being okay with mediocrity in your life. Instead, try to outcreate them or try to create that in your life. Now, I have something related to that. I have a question from a viewer which says that if you fake it, and then how do you really come back to reality? The gap to reality and to faking. And related, I have another question which says faking will faking not confuse us with the real lives? So two people asking us that,
So when you fake it, you never come back to reality. Believe me, you can't come back to reality because you're faking it. When you're faking it, you're telling the universe, "This is what I want," and the universe says, "Sure, I'll give this to you." Then you tell the
You shall
universe,
have
"This
it.
is what I want. This is what I want." Put your hands out and say, "Universe." You know, the thing is, if you are sad and udas and you say, "I want to be happy," but the universe it's everything, Hema, is about how we vibrate. You know, we say
True.
you get who you are rather than who you want. So whatever you
come again. Will you repeat this again?
Yeah, you get who you are
This
rather
is
than
beautiful.
who you want. So when I say you get who you are, what are you vibrating with? When you're vibrating with sadness, you can ask for joy till you're blue in the face, but the universe says, "Oh, she's vibrating with sadness. Let's give her some more sadness." "Oh, she's vibrating with complaining. Let me give her something more to complain." "Oh, she's vibrating with joy. Even if she doesn't have anything, let's give her some more joy." So
Right.
when you say, "This is what I want," and universe says, okay, gives you a little bit, and you were like, "Wow, gratitude, I'm getting what I want." Take the next step, "I'm getting what I want." You can never come back to reality. There's nothing called, the only reality is that upscale reality as you go on.
And what is real, right? What is real?
What
So
is
yeah,
exactly.
so Jaya, so I think this is a very good answer, that you don't need to come back to reality. You fake it so much that the universe is confused whether it's real or it's fake, and
Exactly.
starts granting you all that abundance, And the fourth point that I pick up, Sharon, is gratitude.
Yes.
With whatever little you achieve towards what you desire in your life, you express gratitude to yourself or that higher
Oh,
self that is guiding you, whatever
oh,
you
yes.
believe in. That
Gratitude is my moving force.
is
When
your moving force.
is my moving force, believe me,
Nice.
because you know what happens is we all work at frequencies, like we were always talking to you about. We can ask for things, but it's how we are vibrating, how we are feeling, what is going on in our subconscious mind is what comes to us. So when you have stuff, always be in gratitude. You got up this morning, right? How
Right.
many millions of people have not got up this morning? Your
True.
family members have got up this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Right.
I
True.
and you have that. I mean, people, I look at the tiniest things in my life every day. I don't make a gratitude list. No, I do a mental gratitude.
Yeah.
When I am pouring 3 spoons of sugar, yes, I have 3 spoons of sugar in my tea. When I'm putting 3 spoons of sugar in my tea, I'm in gratitude for it.
Yeah.
Because remember,
Absolutely.
I'm living in Dubai. It's a desert. I mean, tomorrow they close down everything. I won't get my three spoons of sugar for my tea. So it's not that. It's about, I'm always in gratitude. When somebody is mean to me, it's not about being gratitude only for positive. Being gratitude for the negative. When somebody is mean to me, I ask myself, "Wow, what's going on? Why am I getting upset about it? Why is this person triggering me?" Because if it wasn't something wrong with me inside, it wouldn't affect me, right? It would just be like, pouring duck on pouring water on a duck. So the duck doesn't feel it. But when you are
I like to pause here because not many of us think like that. That when somebody does bad according to us or hurt us, you still have gratitude for that person,
yes,
because you
yes,
want to question and ask that what is it in me that is getting triggered because of the behavior
yes,
or the action.
yes. And I thank
This is
them.
so beautiful. Yeah.
And I thank them in my mind. Physically, you don't want to thank these
Yeah.
people because they really don't want to be thanked. Just a small exercise, just close your eyes, bring them in front of you, thank them for being mean, because I know that I have moved from so many different jobs and
Yeah.
I have always risen. If that boss was mean to me, I had a
Yeah.
boss, when I used to sit on the couch, he used to tell me, "Please make sure you settle the couch, make it straight." And I was like, this was in Aravind, Bangalore, okay? And I was like, we need housekeeping for that, don't we? And so he was pretty mean to me. And then I went to the HR guy and I said, I can't work with this guy. He's too full of himself and every employee over here hates him, but they can't say a word to him. So he said, then you'll have to resign. I said, I'm not resigning. You have to give
Ask
me
him
3
to
months
resign.
salary. I would love to, of course. I said, you sack me. So he was like, Sharon, are you off your head? Do you have a job? I said, I don't have a job, but I'm not working with this guy. And I'm going to have a nice 3 months leave because that was part of the clause, 3 months a notice period. So
Yeah.
they paid me 3 months notice period. I had a good 45,000 in my hand, Indian rupees.
Right.
And I took my time. I checked out Bangalore, which I'd never had seen Bangalore because I was working so hard in Bangalore. And then I found myself a job and then whatever, So if that guy hadn't been mean to me, I would not have moved from X job to another job. And the next job I joined was Airtel. And this guy was the most amazing boss I ever had. He was the most amazing. His name was Jagdish Kini. He was the most amazing boss. So it is just that because he was mean to me, I thanked him. I took a stance like, okay, fine, you tell me, to go and leave. I mean, it's crazy. No one even thinks about things like that, Ken, but I always look to see what can I create out here. And I created this beautiful job with this wonderful boss. And see, these are always things, even if somebody is mean to you, even if somebody does things, I mean, I want the audience to just remember all the times they've changed their job, all the times they've changed, something's happened, they've changed their friends, and that friend was so mean to them. And later when they got out of that relationship, they were like, what was I wasting my time with that relationship? Whether it was the boyfriend, girlfriend, or friend. So always thank people who come into your life, do something negative, ask what needs to be sorted out here, sort it out, move on.
Right. So gratitude, gratitude for everybody, in fact, whoever's moving into your life. Also, I have a question, and of course, I also wanted to know this: that how was your experience being a life coach? Do you think you are there? Are you comfortable now, or you're still being comfortable with being a life coach?
What is very funny about being a life coach? When I was, of course, I'm not only a life coach. I am a theta healer. I'm an access conscious learner, EFT, a whole lot of stuff. So when I first became a life coach, it was all about the right question. If you're ever a life coach, you'll always think about the right question. Right. So when I had this first client, I printed out all the questionnaires and I printed everything out and all that. And I did my coaching session and it was okay. By the third coaching session, this lady had to come and pick me up, and because I don't drive. And she had to pick me up, and I had gone to the bathroom and I had left my file over there, and I put my name and my telephone number. Okay. And then when I'm in the car, I don't have my file. And I don't know what to do. And I'm going ballistic, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this session? And I was like, Sharon, calm. What can you create over here? And you won't believe it. I've asked the best questions ever in my life because I'm connecting to the universe. I'm connecting to when I do a coaching session as a life coach, I connect to the person's super consciousness and ask, what change does this person need and what percentage they need? Right. And every session has been amazing. I love being a life coach. I love my work. I mean, it brings so much joy to me. It brings so much joy. Like the other day, I had this 65-year-old lady, Hema. She's 65. She's got a very abusive husband, and we did some work. We just did about a 45-minute session with each other. And then she was like, I'm so happy. I'm laughing, I'm giggling. It was her birthday. She called her daughters. One was in US, one was somewhere else. She's in India. And she went on Skype and she was dancing and singing. And they're saying like, what's happened to you, mother? She said, now you're all going to be the adults in this family and I'm going to be the child because I'm going to really enjoy. And she's saying, my husband hasn't changed. But just doing that session for her has removed so much. She's happy, and she's really pinching herself. Why am I happy? I don't know why I'm happy, but I'm happy.
So sweet. So sweet.
Yeah. Amazing.
I can see how contagious the whole profession is for you. The passion oozes out. Yeah.
I'm very passionate because you can just see, somebody comes to you with confusion. It's like, Hema, you have this big TV, this big screen TV, and you're looking at the TV, it's your problem, and all you can see is dot, 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 dot. Yeah. And then what I do, I just move you back. I don't tell you what to do. As life coaches, we do not tell you what to do. You get your own argument. Yeah. And then you look at the screen and say, oh, so this is what it is. And then, the icing on the cake, Hema, is taking them to a place of choice. Yeah. And they're choosing whether they want to or don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so basically leave them to take the responsibility of their own lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like one lady was overweight and her husband was perfectly okay. He loved all her curves. Her mother was crazy that she had to lose weight and she had to think.
Yeah.
And she came to me and she says, I want to be fat, but I can't be fat. And we
Hmm.
just this one session and she's booked 3 sessions. 2 sessions are lying. I told her to
Hmm.
gift it. And then she came home to the fact that, I'm happy being overweight. And she's
Hmm.
still overweight and she's happy she's made peace with it. These are all
Yeah.
the beautiful things about life coaching.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. So now, I know a lot of people who are watching this are also dying to ask this question from you. So what does one do if people have to implement this in their lives? How do they really step up from their comfort zone into getting something what they always dreamt of? Do you have like a
Okay.
formula, secret to share with
I have a
people?
format if they want. I can give it to
Amazing.
them.
Yes, please. We will all love
Okay.
that.
And I would request listeners to go back to the replay and, go back, take pen to paper. Now just do it in your mind, but take pen to paper and do the exact same thing. Okay. So the
Okay.
question is,
Let's start.
let's start.
Yeah.
First is, what do you want to achieve?
Okay.
Okay. Pen to paper, randomly write. What do you
Okay.
want to achieve?
Okay.
Circle. How does it make you feel? Whatever you want to achieve, how does it make you feel?
Right.
Then you find the common factor. There's a common factor, okay? And then you ask yourself, very important question, is
Mm-hmm.
it worth it? Is it
Is
worth
it
it?
worth it?
Yeah. Is it
Okay.
worth it?
Hmm.
If you want to say, I want to be a movie star, but do you really want all the stuff that comes with being a movie star? Most of the time, no, So is it worth it? Okay. Then your next step is, what will you do in return to achieve this?
Oh, wow. To what extent will you go?
Ah,
What can you do
yes.
maximum to achieve this?
What can you do in return? If you're doing exercise, what is your pain threshold? You know,
And how
if
long
you're
will you be able to sustain it?
Yeah. So the thing is, you start something and you stop and you feel bad and you make yourself bad about it. Oh, I cannot achieve my goals. First, ask these questions. Is it worth it? What will
Yeah.
I do in return for it? And then you define your date of achieving this goal. Define a date. It's
Oh,
not in sand.
that's very important. Very
That's
tough.
very important. And then describe clearly the plan through which you intend to achieve this goal. You have to put pen to paper, Hema. Very important. Very, very important. When you describe the plan,
Right.
it will be a small plan, and then you can elaborate on it, and then you can elaborate on it, and then you can elaborate on, but write the initial plan. And of course, do research. Go onto
Okay.
the internet. We've got the world at our feet with the internet. Then describe clearly the plan. Translate your plan into organized thoughts.
Okay.
You translate a plan into organized thoughts. Okay, I want to do this. I want to say I want to be a life coach. Let me just give you my own example.
Hmm.
When I worked with these people, I really wanted to be a life coach, but it was 24,000 dirhams. Believe me, where was I going to manufacture 24,000 dirhams? I didn't have it.
I
I
hope,
just come.
guys, you are doing the math.
Yeah, 24,000 dirhams multiplied into 20. That would be the
Yeah.
cost.
Yeah.
Dirham to Indian rupees 20.
Yeah.
So I didn't. We had just come from India. In fact, we had just come from. We come from India, and obviously, I didn't want to invest that. When you try, you check everything. Oh, this you do the math, and it sounds too much. So I was like, I don't have 24,000. And then I went to the office and I was like, how much does it cost? So she said 24,000 dirhams. I was like, I don't have 24,000 dirhams. My husband's salary at that time was 8,000 dirhams. Plus, we had 2 children. So, 24,000
Yeah.
was not going to happen. So
Yeah.
then she said, okay, how can you break it down? So she said, every month we have a module, you have to pay 5,000. I was like,
Hmm.
don't have 5,000. Okay, what can you give me? So she was like, there's a registration of 475, but it's non-refundable. And I don't suggest you take it. I'll pay it. And she was like, I'm telling you, it's non-refundable. So she says, how are you going to get that money? I said, Universe. Universe is
Yeah.
I'm on Universe's payroll.
Yeah.
So we went,
So you
we had
just a moment. So you're paying the registration was a message to the universe that you're ready for it, no matter what, and
and
that
worth
it
it.
has to show something up to, fulfill
Yes,
it, basically.
yes.
Amazing.
That is it. Then after that, I went one step further because I told you, July, August, all the schools are closed. Everything is closed in Dubai. So we were going back to India for our holiday. We were going to Darjeeling, to be more precise.
Yeah.
And I went on the internet and I found a manual for $20 on life coaching. I downloaded it,
Amazing.
I printed it. For 2 months, I read it, Hema. I sort of loved it. I read it and I come back, and then we come back and my husband gets a 50% increase in salary. Okay.
Wow.
So he gives me the money for my first module, only
Yeah.
the first module.
Yeah.
After that, I start creating 5,000 dirhams every single month. I don't know where it came from, but I informed the universe, this is a 6 months course. I have to finish this and I'm going to get certified in it. And money came to me. And it wasn't
Amazing.
only, whether it was for my life coaching, whether it's for NLP, even for my theta classes. The Mr. Call used to bring his wife, you know, to this to
Yeah.
having and she would say, see you in the next class. And I was like, I won't have money. And the next class, I'm back sitting right in front. And she was like, I thought you didn't have money. I said, you know what's gave it to me. There were clients would come for that sort of thing. So this is what I mean by saying translate your plan into organized thoughts. 24,000 impossible, 475 possible, right? Downloading a book for $20 possible. So you just keep telling the universe, but you have to have an organized thought and be very clear. This is what I want, and universe, I'm not willing to negotiate.
Not willing to negotiate. I think, let's hold on to that thought, because a lot of times we give up so easily. Oh, that's expensive. This is not possible. So, Sharon, thank you so much for sharing this, because I think this is a really, you are like a live example. So, if we have something in mind.
Hema, there's 2 more points. Hema, there's 2 more points.
Yeah.
Let me just finish. Okay. So read your written statement aloud every day, twice a day, morning and night. I'm going to be a life coach. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to be a life coach.
Okay.
Next point is see and feel your goal is achieved. I would always vision my certificate in my hand, framed. So this is, and just that's it. And also, I'm going to tell you the biggest secret, let go of the result. Let go of the result. If I become a life coach, okay. If I don't become a life coach, okay. Let go of the result. Because when you put too much of stress on it, not going to happen. When you say universe, I'm going to have some fun, you organize it, the universe organizes it for you. And that is the plan.
Yeah, so universe doesn't like operating under stress as well. Huh? You have to let it loose.
Universe likes the happy face and bindas.
Wow. I really love this. I think all of us will have to do a replay of this video and probably follow the steps. And do you have like a duration? You do it for these many days and then voila, it's out there.
See, in the beginning, you have already defined a date to achieve your goal, right?
Right.
So that's what you do. You move backwards and you get it.
Right. Amazing. So I think a lot of people are going to try it. They have on their comments. Someone's also recommending to go back and read the book Secret, because that will have a lot of examples on these lines as well.
Yeah.
So I have another question, and this is very personal to me, because every time when I'm losing a comfort zone and going into a space, like even starting these broadcasts, there is a bit of insecurity, fear of being ridiculed and laughed at. And letting go of the old comfortable ways. So do you have any tips around, how one can do that, break and let go of their old ways of working and move towards the newer ways of working?
So I just have one sentence. You say 30 times a day.
Okay.
It's called all of life comes to me
with ease,
joy, and glory. Now,
yeah.
does that mean nothing bad is going to happen? It's going to happen with ease, joy, and glory.
Yeah.
You got it?
Lovely. Yes. So you guys, you want to all say it every day, 30 times?
30 times a day. And now the up is 100 times a day. Because, we are going through this third plane to the fifth plane. So a lot of stuff is happening. All the stars are going into retrograde. So if you can manage 30 times, amazing. If you can go into 100 times, super amazing. Throughout the day, just break it up.
Yeah. Superb. Superb. So, Sharon, thank you so much. It was lovely, getting these insights, and we can go on talking for the whole night. Before ending this seminar, there's so much to talk on this front. And just to share a few tips that I do basically to step out of comfort zone, because I love experimenting as well. So I do very simple things, and the audiences, you all can try it. It's very simple. If you normally are used to wearing a watch like I am on my left hand, I stop wearing it for a week. So it's very frustrating, trust me, because the moment I do this and there's nothing on my hand, you know, uh, it's just, and if getting uncomfortable it's just getting comfortable with uncomfortable. Okay. So small things, your routine that you normally follow after you getting up, after you get up, just try to incorporate one new thing every day, and that also adds up to the entire game. So,
Very important.
Sharon, thank you so much. Any last words for our audiences here? And thank you so much, people, for coming down. Please keep coming, because that keeps me motivated also to come here and speak to you all. Yeah, Sharon, your last words for
Yeah,
us.
so thank you, audience, for coming and sharing so much and being part of this. And Hema really works very hard. I mean, she is not a doctor; she's a journalist. She literally, gets the
I am a
best for you
doctor.
guys. Literally, she is a doctor, but I swear, when she does this work, she puts her heart and soul into it. So please
Thank
keep
you so
coming.
much.
Please keep coming, because she's absolutely amazing. The last words that I would like to use is action, 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 action. You can go to any
Yeah.
seminar, you can read books, you can listen to videos, you can listen to audios, but if you don't take that action,
Oh my
nothing is
God.
going to
So I had
nothing
this
is
very
going to
funny incident. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but I can't stop myself from not telling you. So I was having a discussion with a friend in the morning, and she kept telling me, in the whole lockdown, I have watched these Instagram videos with women exercising and doing Pilates, and I haven't lost an ounce. So this really brings me to Sharon's point: action.
action, action, action. That's it, nothing else. Small action. Small action.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sharon. I can't thank you enough for coming down. Especially, I think on Independence Day, this is a gift from you to all of us to also get freedom from our limitations. Even
Yeah.
if one of the audiences watching this video chooses to let go of one of their limitations, I think the task is done for us. So, for people who are new to this channel and who are watching me and the guest for the first time, the channel is called Lose Your Blues, and we advocate stress-free living. Every Saturday, we have a real-life hero. Like today's hero is Sharon, and we talk about that journey and learn life lessons from them. Please, please, please like and follow the page, because if you do that, we get better speakers for you. And also let me know what is it that you all will like to hear about. Sharon, thank you so much for coming. It was wonderful talking to you on the chat line.
Thank you, Hema, so much for having me. It was such a lot of joy just coming on your channel. And thank you for these wonderful questions that you've put together, which so you are a voice for your whole audience. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. So bye, guys. I will see you next time, same place, same time, next Saturday. Jai Hind.
Bye.